Greetings, friends and foes, and welcome along to Keep Your Friends Close and Your Animes Closer. It's an anime podcast where three guys just talk about some anime that they watched in the week. And as always, on this episode 35, I am your anime big brother who knows the most, Joel.
I am your anime adopted wee baby brother, Robert, and I probably know the least.
I'm your anime little sister, Curtis, and get the fuck out of my room.
Fair.
So cute.
Curtis-chan.
Curtis-chan.
Yeah.
This week on the podcast, this is a podcast where we watch anime and then we talk about it. And this week we watched episodes 16, 17, and 18 of Revolutionary Girl Utena. And we're going to talk about that right now. But first, last time on Keep Your Friends Close and Your Animes Closer. Robert, do you have no follow-up?
No follow-up from me today. Any from you?
I don't have any follow-up either, I don't think. Or if I do, I've plumb forgotten it and shall regret it very soon.
We got episode 34 perfect. Not a single thing wrong.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Highest rated episode. Well then, there's no reason that we can't just roll right into Revolutionary Girl Utena Abridged.
Duel 16, title.
Cowbell of Happiness.
Did you say Cowbell of Happiness? Yes, you did. Because this is another filler episode. And it turns out Utena doesn't do their filler episodes by half.
No.
They go, hey guys, this is a filler episode. It's gonna have nothing to do with the regular series in any way. It's just gonna have the same characters and don't pay attention to anything that happens here.
Also, the tone is gonna just be
completely
off.
different. Alright, so where does that cowbell come in, I wonder? So it starts with the backstory again. Have you noticed that that's only in the filler episodes when they give the princess backstory again? No?
No.
Every so often it comes in, and I'm starting to wonder if it is just in the fillers, because it was exactly 3 episodes ago when there was a filler episode as well.
I think it's just to make time.
Just when they're like,
had it out.
Sure. Yeah.
Alright, so we begin with Anthe staying up late watching a game show on the TV, which wakes Utena up.
No, it's a shopping channel.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's like, call now to get this real faux sapphire earring.
Well, she takes a chip, and she eats it. Then it cuts to the Kiryu Manor, and there's a party in full swing, and Nanami is wearing a beautiful dress that her uncle bought her, and the mean girls are swooning over her rings, and her shoes, and her necklace. And Nanami says, I threw this party in order to show off my 20-carat diamond pendant that I've received. Don't know who she received it from, it never comes up, it's not important. Juri arrives, however, and she's wearing a necklace from a luxury designer brand that she's been doing some modelling for, and she just totally steals their thunder. Nanami backs out of revealing the reason for the party, but just at that moment, a messenger arrives with a box from Sebastian Dior, the outfitter to the British Royals, and the most luxurious of all brands. What fortunate timing. Nanami pretends that was the reason for the party all along, and she opens the box and unveils her brand new cowbell. She puts it on and wears it with pride.
Yeah.
Everybody at the party thinks she's weird for wearing a cowbell, but she thinks that they're being jealous.
They just don't get my fashion. This isn't a phase.
It's not a fad. It's totally everybody will be wearing cowbells. So everybody, through the next few days, the students are talking about her behind her back, saying that she's being weird, she's losing the plot. She thinks they're just speechless.
When you think about it, I've just realized this isn't actually a fuller episode, and let me tell you why, real quick. It's really exploring Nanami's character and how she doesn't have any friends that are good enough to tell her that she's being a dumb bitch.
Right, yeah.
So it's really just like fleshing out how few people she has close to her. Like, because now that Toga is gone, she has literally nobody to call her out on.
Nobody else. You'd think nobody, but Suwabuki steps up. If you remember him from a few episodes ago, he's the 10-year-old ex-boyfriend of hers. He steps up to her and he says, Miss Nanami, that's a bit weird. And as he's saying weird, her weird suitors that are all like triplets, they like stop in to be like, no, don't say anything. But he has the courage as a 10-year-old naive little boy.
True. And
then once he says it, Utena has the courage as well to step up and agree with him and say, it is weird that you're wearing a cowbell. Nanami still won't hear sense though, and she says, nah, you're just being jealous. Then Nanami has a dream. She wakes up in a stable with a cow for a shadow. Dream Toga enters, and he gives her some hay to eat. and then she gets carted off to market, and she gets turned into a steak.
And then he eats her.
It's implied. The people at the school are still talking about her. She's now taken to wearing cow print as well, and eating a whole bunch, and napping often, and drawing out any moo sounds in her words. She's even wearing a new hair clip that looks like cow ears. Her boyfriend Suwabuki wakes... Well, her ex-boyfriend, I suppose.
Her brother.
Yeah, her adopted brother.
Her assistant?
Suwabuki wakes Utena and Anthy in the night to bring them in a fit. You gotta come now. He shows them that Nanamu is now eating grass in a field. Anthy finally finishes the sweater that she'd been knitting all episode. It's a red one. She hands it over to Utena, and Nanami flips, seeing red, and she turns into an actual cow, though still wearing Nanami's clothing and blonde hair. She charges the red like it's a bullfight, and Utena matadors like a boss, using a pitchfork to sever the cowbell from her neck, and she falls to the ground back as Nanami again. Juri and Mickey are speculating on who sent her the bell in the first place. Cut to Anthy taking care of her cow. Yeah, this is a 14-year-old who owns a cow. What the fuck of it? You want to fight?
And a mongoose, and an octopus, and a mouse.
And a whole bunch of snails.
Probably that kangaroo.
Why? They're just on a farm in this school, apparently, because there's horses and chickens and cows now. So it turns out, for inexplicable reasons, Anthy has chosen to name her cow Nanami. And so the mailman got mixed up, and because, of course, when you order something for your pet cow, you address it to that cow.
And then they have to point out to Nanami that it wasn't Sebastian Dior, it was Cowbastian Dior.
Cowbastian. And I've got that in my comments for later. I was going to say, I just have to hope that makes a better pun in Japanese. Because it's just the laziest of portmanteaus. But
it's a Latin word. Sebastian Dior is Latin, so Cowbastian Dior, and I even say that I don't think it is. No.
Well, I just wondered that, like, whether cow in Japanese was like something that sounded like Sebas or something.
No, it's Gyu.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Boo. Anthy says, the mailman must have got mixed up. My lovely cow here. Now I'm just waiting for her nose ring to arrive. Dun dun dun.
God.
And that's episode 16.
Yep.
Duel 17, title
Thorns of Death.
Back into it, guys. This is a serious show. Lots of serious stuff happening. Juri is staring at her locket, remembering the betrayal of her girlfriend / best friend. And then cut to her in the fencing arena. She's just wasting everybody as she does. In walks Purple. She's back at the school. What? Juri looks up and sees her. Not a happy face. Utena gets to know her. Her name, we find out, is Shiori. She says that she transferred to a different school for a little while, but now she's back. And she speaks fondly of Juri. Down in the darkness, with the weird crypt and the roses, an orange rose is blooming, not a black one. And apparently this one has poisonous thorns. Mamiya and the bob cut guy I've forgotten the name of, they talk about the rose having
Shoji.
What is it?
Shoji.
Mamiya and Shoji are talking about the rose having a natural parasitic enemy, and so they will use that parasite's poison against Utena. Juri is stroking her chest absent-mindedly where her pendant lies. Mickey is telling the council all about his sword being drawn out of him, and Nanami has his watch. She stops it and asks him what he uses it for. And I was like, yes, we're going to... he just ignores the question. Ignores the question, so she instead asks him, did it hurt when the sword was removed? He goes literal bright red, in presumably embarrassment, and he ignores that question as well. Shiori approaches Juri and wants to talk, presumably to apologise for what happened before, but Juri shuns her and walks away. Shiori says, but I broke up with the boy, and I want to go back to how it was before, and all of this. And Juri's just giving her nothing back in return. A bird flies into the window and dies. Not exactly sure of the symbology of that, but we'll get back to it later. Juri admits that, look, you never did anything to me anyway, because I never even loved the boy that you thought you'd stolen from me. Shiori goes, what? But you always look at the pendant. Who's in the pendant then, if it's not the boy? Utena tries to get involved, says to Juri, you should forgive her, whatever she did. Juri tells her to go do one, and Utena sulks off to tell that stand-in chairman, Akio, all about it. He tells her that everyone has something that they'd rather people didn't touch. For me, it's my sister's sweet body. I
mean, no, police!
Jury is now sulking in the shower, and just as she reaches her pinnacle of depressed nature, I guess, the orange rose turns black. Later, she throws the pendant into a lake, and the rose is plucked at that point. Shiori enters her dorm room and finds the pendant sitting on the desk. In the Caterpillar-vator, Shiori talks about having always been jealous of Juri. She always felt pathetic, like Juri was just being friends with her out of pity. So she wanted to change their relationship. She wanted to do something drastic that would make her just change up this pathetic nature of her relationship. And she feels that now she knows that Juri has her in her locket and she's been pining over her all these years. She feels like she's won now. She laughs over the thought of how pathetic Juri is in her place, because I guess she's a psychotic twat. Now she's down in the base morgue and she gets the ring and the black rose, and then she goes up and she finds Juri and she draws Juri's heart sword. Utena receives a challenge. There's a music video, the staircase, the arena, the desks are all covered with taxidermied birds on stands now. Shiori challenges her, claiming that she's finally in control of Juri. She fights just like Juri, apparently, but then the prince comes inside and so Utena wins. The ring and the sword disappear and she lands in the red outline, and the body goes into hell just like before. Juri comes to with her pendant, and then later she passes Shiori at the school, and it seems like neither of them have ill feeling towards each other. Or do they? Duel 18, title.
Mitsuru's Impatience.
The student council, still in one's toga, discuss how they've seemingly been abandoned by End of the World now in favour of these new duelists with the black roses. They don't know anything about it. Nanami's bitch boy turns up to bring Nanami her basketball shoes, and he is spurned because, well, you won't understand grown-up stuff. You're a child. I'm so much older than you at 13. Yeah. Which is surprisingly accurate for how I remember 13-year-olds acting.
Yeah.
Utena and Anthe are talking about the bad weather and how I can't never get his name right. Tsuwabuki. They're talking about how Tsuwabuki is Nanami's bitch boy these days. His friend Mira says the same about him, saying she's just using you, blah blah blah. And he says, "Well, I'm happy with it. I just like being around her, all of this stuff." Nanami sees him and Mira arguing, and she says, "Hey, you're not allowed other friends. Even though we're not boyfriend and girlfriend anymore, you're not allowed other friends." And then she calls him a kid again. His friend tries again, saying that she's just using him and telling him he's a sucker and a sap. He tries making Nanami some lunch, and meanwhile his friend eats some of the chocolate that was meant for Nanami. When he leaves, he goes to eat the chocolate, and then he realises that it would be like kissing his friend.
Which is scientifically accurate.
Yeah. And again, how I remember thinking when I was 10 years old.
Yeah, you don't share chips.
Yeah,
share dirt.
Yeah, you don't share anything that you've put your lips on, because my lips would then touch the thing your lips on.
Kissing each other.
So he doesn't eat the chocolate because he doesn't want to kiss anyone but Nanami, I guess. Bitch boy brings Nanami some fried chicken for lunch, just as she's talking with Soji. And she spurns him yet again for being a child. Just really driving it home this episode. He's a child. Utena sees him then reading, trying to be a grown-up. And he asks her, "What does it mean to be a grown-up?" And they're like, I don't know.
Because we're 15.
Yeah. Utena then goes off to Akio, the only adult in this world, whenever the teachers aren't around for mysterious reasons. She goes off to the brother, and she says, "Am I a child or am I a grown-up?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know, you're the same age as my sister, and she's a grown-up, so..."
And she's definitely legal. So that by proxy makes you legal, and I mean an adult.
An adult. It's nothing to do with legality, I'm sure. The Black Rose duo are downstairs talking about who the next duelist should be, and it's going to be the teacher, apparently.
Yes. Yeah.
No, actually, no. It's going to be the guy whose episode this has been all along, of course. Meanwhile, Tsuwabuki's watching some romantic clips from movies of movie stars kissing each other, and he's trying to learn how to kiss from watching them. His friend comes into the movie theatre and she says, "You won't learn anything without practice." So, understandably, in my point of view, he sees that as an invitation to try and kiss her, and she's like, "No, I didn't mean that," and she slaps him and she runs out. Nanami sees this and she's all, "You can't kiss other people, blah blah blah," and he goes, "You know what? So what if I do like my friend, whatever. You don't like me anyway." And then he starts to cry, and that's the point where the black rose is plucked.
Got him.
In the Caterpillar-vator, he talks about Nanami and how it isn't enough to just be with her anymore, just be around her anymore. He wants to really be with her. And then cut to, he's back in the cinema. He calls Nanami to see him. And then he touches her hand, and she's like, "What?" And then, boom, her heart sword bursts out of her chest. Not just one of them, 2 of them! Yep. He draws both of her heart swords out, and then he challenges Utena. Music scene, staircase, all of that stuff. The desks are now covered in chocolate.
A little statue holding chocolate.
A little statue holding chocolate, and not only that, like a little Russian nesting doll statue.
Yes.
Because when one of them gets broken in the middle of the fight, there's another one inside it.
Yes.
I don't know what that's about, but we'll get back to it.
It's because he's trying to be an adult, but deep inside he's still a child because he's 10.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
And inside that is another child.
Yeah.
Who's 10.
And inside that is Akio.
Took me a second, I was like, oh no, that's a good one.
He fights, he actually attacks her before she's even drawn a sword, saying, well, we are in a dueling arena after all, and he's like trying to kill her. She has time to draw the sword out of Anthe. The prince gets inside her, and she wins, and it's all same old, and in the end.
They've been rushing through those jewels.
Yeah,
they've been really moving through those jewels at a clip recently.
Yeah, they really have.
Just before we move on, you know what I just realized? You know how like you get your restricted license when you're like 16, right? And then if you want to drive like maybe your sibling, you can like get a special permit to do so, even though like technically you aren't allowed to drive your sibling because you're not legal and they're younger than you. But like there's a special circumstance. Just something to think about.
Oh god. Oh no. Oh, I was hoping you weren't going there. No, it was just my overactive imagination.
Just might be relevant. Maybe there's special circumstances.
Yeah, might just be. What? No, I was talking about driving.
That's just driving. It's just like hey, there's special circumstances for when it's not legal to ride with your sibling. But for many reasons, and then but it's the special circumstances, and then they just like it's understandable.
Yeah, completely, totally legal
in anime.
All right, are we still shoujo boys? Still liking it?
Yes. I didn't like the cow episode. I wasn't a fan. I really liked the curry episode. Like to compare it with the two outstanding weird side episodes. I just didn't find it funny.
Right.
I found it grating.
Yeah.
And like they were like, "Do you get it?
Yeah.
Do you get it? She's a cow."
Yeah.
It wasn't enough to carry the episode for me, so I didn't have a good time with it.
Felt pretty quick. I'm hanging on to watching it. It feels to me like it's like soft pornography for women.
You haven't seen enough soft pornography
for women.
It just feels like it's heavily about the relationships, and the dynamics all working.
Yeah.
It's a little over my head.
Yeah, they're so heavy on symbols and just like similes and metaphors and stuff that it's a lot of it's like I don't know whether this is just bizarre or whether this is actually happening in the world.
Do you want to give an example?
There's just so much. Yeah, the bird dying. The
flew into the window, and it's got when a bird does that, it dies.
Yeah.
Much like how when you run headlong into love, and it was a wall the whole time, your heart gets broken.
Right. Okay.
So easy peasy for me. Another one.
Okay. Heart swords. Why swords in the heart? Is that like an actual thing that's happening in the world?
Yep. Because,
but it's also metaphorical.
Yep. Because let me get to it. It's because hearts can be used as a weapon in real life. It hurts to love somebody, and they can use their emotions against you.
The pendant being thrown into the lake.
And
then being in Shiori's
That was Soji. He went for a dip in the lake and got the pendant out and then dropped it on. And there's no other way that you can interpret that.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck has happened now?
Because we know that he's watching everybody.
Yeah.
So he went in and he got he was like watching Jury, saw through the pendant. Fuck.
I was gonna nap it tonight.
Yeah, so he went in and he swam it out of the lake.
And is the pendant like symbolic for anything at a deeper level other than just
no? It's an object of her affection. That one I didn't make up. That one is true.
The cow.
Think. That is just they're supposed to be funny, and she's a cow.
Okay. They'll come up again, and I'll turn to you for my symbol man.
Yeah, I think I've got it down.
Shadows. What is the shadows?
I was just about to say that that's the one thing that I can't always follow.
Is that Wakaba?
No,
it's not.
It's not. They're nothing. They're nobody.
Because their silhouette looks like Wakaba.
Yeah, they sometimes.
Are there 3 shadows now?
There's just
I don't know. Yeah, there were 2. There
But
were 2,
actually,
and now there's
recently
just 1.
I feel like there's 3. No, there's 3, aren't there?
These days they're like jumping between. Like it's one shadow doing all the parts.
Because I understand it from a production standpoint. It's a lot easier to animate silhouettes than it is to animate character models. But sometimes the conversations that the shadow people are having are like so far removed from what's going on, and I'm bewildered. But I mean, the one with the mouse lying to the people.
Yeah,
that one I thought read well because it's like, oh, like, you can trust me. Oh, the cat's got nothing to worry about, and then it's just like, oh no, cat got me too. You can't make friends with a cat if you're a mouse.
Just can't.
You just can't. I'm tired today.
How about the symbol of when I've noticed it in the last 2? I didn't notice it in previous episodes as well. But when Shiori draws the sword from Juri, and when Tsurugawaga draws the sword from
Suwabuki, or Mitsuru. His name is Mitsuru Suwabuki.
Mitsuru Suwabuki. When he draws the swords from Nanami, they're both wearing a black ring, but they don't yet have the black rose on. And I didn't know if that was symbolic of something.
I don't think that's symbolic of anything.
Or whether they just forgot to animate it properly.
Possibly,
because they're meant to get that at the same time as... when they go down into the
it,
morgue basement.
Yeah.
The base morgue.
I feel like that's an animation miss.
Yeah,
right?
maybe.
I don't know. Don't know about that one.
I'll get onto IMDb and put it in as a as a goof.
Is it? It's the kind of thing that's really hard to... Okay, so that level of detail is hard to look into without having seen the whole show, because it's the kind of thing that I think Curtis pointed out just now is permissible as a animation, not error, but like it's just animating an extra thing in it. It's tough.
What's with the regressing caterpillar butterfly?
We covered that last.
Do we?
Well, it's. I think I'm pretty sure that it's just
going inside.
Yeah, like regressing back to a primordial state, or like your most true state, because you could look at it as like, cause there's a reason that it's called a social butterfly, right? Because butterflies are kind of like open and they're flashy, so it's what everybody sees you to be. So you walk into the elevator and you are the social butterfly, or whatever it is that people see you to be, and they want you to regress to the state that you truly are. And I know that it falls apart because butterflies aren't really eggs, but it's like it's just a visual it's like visual representation of regression.
Right. So there's what you're showing yourself to be, which is the butterfly, and then who you truly are, which is the egg. Which ties back into the whole fucking theme that you need to crack the egg and revolutionize the world. No. I'm being dead serious this time. I was fucking up and joking before. But they're like, you need to crack your egg and become what you truly are. Right. You're pretending to be a butterfly and you're not. Yeah. You've got these, like, devious sort of behaviors or, like, intentions. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I can buy most of that. Just general comments about any of the episodes then? Episode 16? Episode 16 was the episode with
Crazy
Juri.
Cow one?
The cow one? Nothing to talk about for that episode. I did not like that.
Did you have any general ones? So what was it about it that you didn't like as a
I just didn't find it. I just didn't find it funny. And it went on for a really long time, it felt like. Also, Nanami is, like, my least favourite character, so having an episode that focused on her a lot, even though it was kind of making fun of her, was just intolerable. It did take a while, and it was like, we already got to the point. We all got there before you. Yeah. We can tell she's turning into a cow. Yeah. She's now been mooing for the last 3 scenes. Yeah. Did you have anything to add about episode 16? I liked when Utena called her out for being weird, and she called her out for wearing a boy's uniform. I thought that was good. Yeah.
You boy girl. You're like, what do you mean a boy girl? Episode 17 then. Why is I keep forgetting her name, Shiori. Yeah. Why is Shiori a combatant? Why? I thought they all had to hate Anthe. I thought they all wanted to kill Anthe or something. They were all drawing because they were before now. The first two were they had a reason to dislike Anthe. Yeah, this one didn't.
But now it's kind of like you just have to have a hurt heart, not even necessarily a broken heart. Maybe it is a broken heart. Because and they talked about how they had to poison Juri's heart. I'm meaning the rose. I'm taking the rose as a direct metaphor for their heart.
Right. Yeah.
These are like black hearts that they're fostering.
Right. It started orange until Shiori showed up.
Well, until they poisoned it with the parasite.
Right.
But even then, it wasn't completely black when they plucked it. It's like they had to force her to get angry with Shiori and throw the pendant in before they could. Yeah, they had to well up because even in Juri's episode, which is like episode 7, I want to say, she talks about how she doesn't hate Shiori and that she still loves her. Yeah, so she doesn't have a heart filled with hate and darkness.
Yeah, no, she's doing good.
So they had to. She's coping well, man.
Good on you.
For a 16-year-old,
very mature.
So they had to prompt her to, act in a way that is probably not the most healthy way of dealing with past relationships. Yeah.
Do you think that Shiori was the parasite to her heart?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about what their talk of parasites was about. And they were like parasites and poisons and why this rose has thorns and the other ones haven't.
Are we dense?
I don't know.
Yeah, we're just missing something obvious.
That bit where was it Soji sucks the finger?
Yeah,
it's pretty sexual.
Yeah, there's a lot of sexual stuff. I want to make some general comments about the whole show. Okay. And I was going to wait until we do the next episode, but I'll just do it now. They treat everybody like adults. Everybody who's 13 and above. Yeah. Even the height difference between Mitsuru Suwabuki, who's 10, and Nanami, the height, like, you can go through a growth spurt, but he's like half her height, which is not typically how it works. So they treat everybody...
They are the only adults in the show. Like,
yeah. But even the way that they talk and the way that they treat their relationships and the way that they look at the past as well, they think they look so...
ages ago,
like, oh, man. Just like...
Wish I could go back.
The good old days of 3 years ago.
But at the same time, maybe not, the good old days, but everything that happens in high school, everything that happened to me in high school had a level of gravity because it's the first time that anything like that happens to you, right? You've never had to deal with these complex emotions or relationships. And so when they all happen for the first time, they feel really important, even though they're not necessarily.
Yeah. Right.
So maybe the way that they're acting is just an accurate way of, reacting to having to fight each other, but also just have complex relationships with, or more grown-up relationships than we're friends. Now it's like, you betrayed me and you stole my friend from me, but I like you and you did it to hurt me and that's not cool.
So it is aimed at teenagers then? Like teenagers.
Almost all anime is aimed at teenagers.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a reason that a lot of anime has a cast primarily made up of teenagers.
Yeah.
Because teenagers have the most disposable income, because in Japan at least they get an allowance from their parents.
Right.
So they're like, fucking give us money.
Buy anime.
Yeah. But the other thing is that even if you're an adult, you can generally remember what it was like to be a teenager. Like, those are familiar experiences. We've been to high school. You're like, oh, that's really accurate to stuff. So if you make an anime that's about adults, you'd lose the teenage market. Whereas if you make an anime about teenagers, you do not lose the adult market.
Yeah.
So, I guess from a business standpoint, it just makes fucking sense.
I would see Dragon Ball Z aimed at 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds.
It's aimed at guys who are like
30,
like 10 to 20.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Compared to this show, it seems like it's,
it's a big difference, but also it's trying to achieve different things. Like Dragon Ball Z is a power fantasy, and this is like a complex drama, almost like worse than Game of Thrones, except without the deaths.
Right.
Because it's just like, who is doing what now? What does Soji want? Are we ever going to find out? Where is the principal? Where is he hiding? is he in that tower that we keep seeing?
It feels like it's really intense and aimed at like people who can understand a little more. But at the same time, we don't see any blood at all, which made me think, okay, maybe it's aimed at a younger audience. Because in any of the fights, like, it took me a long time to realise that they're actually, like, fighting to the death, effectively.
Yeah.
And when they're talking about killing Anthe, I'm like, okay, there's, like, some real stakes in these fights. But it doesn't feel like that because they never show anybody getting cut and stuff. Even when Kiryu got attacked by Saionji, it was like it wasn't shown any injury that he sustained or anything. Maybe... It just showed him in bandages.
Is that a product of the time?
I mean, Dragon Ball Z was airing... It was airing before Utena, and that had Raditz and Goku getting blown in half by laser beams.
Yeah, there was like blood and guts galore in that. Like at one point, Frieza licks blood off of his face
after spearing Krillin in the guts with his horns. Yeah, so I don't think it's a product of the time. I think that it's more that they don't think that girls would want to see anything like that because this is a shoujo, not a shonen. I don't think it would be the same as... I don't think it's the same reason that they aren't just directly talking about why... or not why, but talking directly about Juri being gay, and same with Anthe and Utena. I think that's more of... That is definitely a product of the time, because it's like, it's the 90s. Gays?
Right.
They're going to be crazy. They can't just be people.
Girls are too delicate to see blood and guts, but society is too delicate to see gay people.
No.
Yeah. We'll imply ancestral relationships.
Oh yeah, that's
society is.
I don't know.
Have you seen Sharon and Jim? They're having sex. They're brother and sister, but they're having sex. What a world we live in!
Isn't that progressive?
I heard that Kate and Meredith were kissing. Gross.
Not okay.
Gross. Not okay.
That is
two
awful.
women. Not okay. Brother and sister. Just progressive.
Is that blood I see on the screen? Gross. Turn it off.
Get out.
Favorite moments. What's you guys' favorite moment moments from these 3 episodes?
Mine would probably just be background stuff with the Nanami's like boy squad, the 3 triplets that are just always falling around. They just do some funny stuff in the background. Like at one point, they're trying to stop Utena from speaking and telling Nanami that she's weird to wear a cowbell. So they're like silencing her, putting their hands over her mouth and stuff. And then it cuts to Nanami, and off screen you can hear. And then it cuts back to her and she's just like twatted all of them and 2 of them put on like little sirens on their heads and stretch the other one away. Just silly background fun.
Are they just obsessed with Nanami? That's when they come out.
They're her like suitors. Yeah,
right.
Anytime it's somebody's saying something bad about them, they're like, no.
Right.
I think they get introduced in the episode that Tsuwabuki gets introduced because they're upset that she picked a 10-year-old and not one of them because...
Oh, that's right, yeah.
They're like, why won't you date one of us?
We're totally normal.
We're triplets. We're totally normal.
Sweet. I've got 2 moments.
Okay.
That's cheating. Choo-choo inside a bottle. Takes the form of a bottle.
Yeah, he's drinking milk out of a bottle at one point.
Yeah, and then it just cuts back to it and he's inside the whole bottle. And he's the shape of it.
He's like a cat. They just take up the form of whatever they're in.
Yeah. And my second was Nanami asking Mickey what it felt like to have a sword pulled out of him.
Yeah.
I like that they went to that level.
Like thinking about what it would actually feel like.
Which
is weird because for me, it occurred to me that nobody gives a shit about what it feels like for Anthe all this time.
Right.
Like it was,
When it happens to Anthe, it's very graceful.
Yeah.
And delicate. When it happened to Jury, she like screamed in pain.
Yeah.
It was
everybody does.
Yeah, it's like they don't see it coming. They sort of keel over almost as if they've got chest pains and stuff, and then it bursts out of it. And it's always somebody else drawing it out of them, like saying something or touching them in a certain way that brings it out. Whereas with Anthe, she's the one in control of it. She always does the same hand movements and like a glowing orb of light in front of her, and then she's very gracefully, which I guess would come from practice. Like if you, it reminds me of Wolverine. He always talks about like how it never doesn't hurt anytime he pulls his blades out, because he has to cut the flesh every time his blades come out of his fists.
Right.
Ouch.
Yeah.
But he just gets used to it, and I guess in a similar way,
these ones go handle up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Reverse taper. My favorite bit was the basement scene with Mamiya and Soji talking about the orange rose, Jury's rose. I just like Soji. I think that he's an interesting character. I like his character design. And I predict, moving right into predictions, that he'll just have like a really tragic backstory and a motivation for wanting to kill Anthe.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why. I don't know why he would do that, but
yeah, no, I think that fits. And I reckon he's going to end up being like the last of the rose duelists. I reckon is because we're not going to see 100,
no.
But I think it's going to still imply that she's fought 100, and then I think it's going to, the last guy is going to be the bob cut guy, Soji. He's going to take the last ring, he's going to put it on himself, and then he's going to draw the sword out of Mamiya, because he was talking about Mamiya being the new bride once they kill Anthe. So Mamiya's going to be the rose bride / groom. I'm a boy. No, you're not. Shut up. You know your place. Give me our sword. And he's going to pull the sword out, and we're going to see Anthe pull the sword out of... Utena pull the sword out of Anthe. What if Anthe pulls the sword out of Utena? Oh my god! That was just a slip of the tongue, but what if it happens? Oh my god! No, it's not going to happen.
She's a baddie,
yeah, and it's going to be really symbolic. It's going to be like you're going to see symmetry right down the screen as they both pull the sword respectively out of their dark-skinned beauty. Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
I would agree with that. I think there might, instead of it skipping ahead, I think they'll have an episode where Utena has to fight like 70 dudes.
That would be so cool.
That would be good.
That would be good. Yeah, that's definitely something they would do as well. Like
if they have the budget.
Just get more animators in just for this one episode. Yeah, like just nameless, faceless people from the school. They're just like giving out the rings like they're candy. Like, fuck, we're running out now.
What if
you take a ring?
What if it's like she has to fight 70 guys, but all of the student council members help her out?
Oh, I like that.
Free for all.
Because they're like, we don't like these people.
Yeah, because they were hinting in the student council that the council members are now pissed off that they've kind of been rejected by End of the World. Yeah. So yeah, they're going to step up. They're all going to join forces.
All feasible things that will definitely happen. Well, I think with that, it's time to move into a Weeb in review. A Weeb in review is the segment where we talk about things that are anime tangential related, or just, anime that we watched in the week. There wasn't the show that we all watched together. Robert?
I have watched them this week. I didn't have a lot of time with uni, but I, on the walk home, watched Naruto, or 2 episodes of it at least. It's a classic. It's a shonen. I should know something about it, so I decided to watch a couple episodes. I enjoy it. I'm going to be watching a few more. I'm definitely not going to be finishing it, because it's 800 episodes or something?
746 or something, close to that.
That's crazy. Unless I get super into it.
I was going to say, you've listened to the whole first season of Critical Role, which is, I think, almost twice the length.
Oh, so, yeah, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, man. And I'm up to, episode 30 of second season as well now.
Which is, over 30 hours. That's, 90 hours?
Yeah, 90
exactly.
Hours,
so just,
So, yeah, maybe if I get into it as Critical Role, maybe I will finish it. Yeah, it's crazy. It's not very well written, at least not in the first 2 episodes, because it's, plot holes and nonsense. But it's enjoyable. It's about ninjas. it's like Japanese ninjas where they have like superpowers and stuff. They're like, yeah, ninjas are just magical.
As opposed to Nordic ninjas.
Which... I mean, a Japanese perception of a ninja, as opposed to like a real life. Japanese,
a real life.
Real life? Wait, what am I trying to say? You know what I'm trying to say. Ninjas don't actually have magical powers in real life.
Untrue. False. You are the weakest link.
They have magical cats in their clothes.
Yes.
They can tell time. So yeah, it's a magical city where a demon was defeated several years ago, and then now it's cuts to the future where people are like just graduating ninja college, and there's this one mischievous little boy, very boisterous little Naruto, and he's not graduating. He's the only one that's not graduating, and he's playing up. And then we find out in the very first episode he is the spirit of the Demon Lord from 12 years ago, which is an odd twist. I would have expected them to hold on to that for like a season finale or something, mid-season twist or something, but whatever, each their own. I guess maybe it's just not a twisting, turning kind of a show. Have you seen it?
I've seen a little bit of Naruto. I've seen a couple episodes here and there, and I've seen like the third movie, I think. The issue with my anime fandom is that I didn't have Cartoon Network, so if it wasn't played on TV, I didn't get to fucking see it. I had a lot of friends who watched it in high school, but I just kind of didn't see anime for about 5 years, which is when Naruto was really fucking just like peak popularity. So I've seen a little bit of it. It never really appealed to me, and it's not the kind of show that I want to spend time going back to watch.
It does look quite dated with its animation style.
I'm sorry, Joe.
Yeah, no, well, it's...
You didn't have anime for a while.
It's something that I have to live with on a daily basis. Yeah. I'm just really far behind now. So this is for Robert's sake, because he probably wouldn't know this, but Naruto, for a really long time, was one of the big three. And by big three, of course, I mean the three most popular manga in Shonen Jump, which is Japan's most popular shonen weekly magazine.
Can I try and guess?
Yeah, I was just going to ask that as well.
What the other two were?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
One Piece?
Of course, One Piece is king. Okay. One Piece has been number one almost since it started airing and hasn't dropped.
Oh.
And Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z.
No, it wasn't Dragon Ball Z.
It wasn't Dragon Ball Z.
Naruto came is after Dragon Ball's time.
Alright, what's it going to be then?
Pokemon.
Pokemon is not an anime. Manga, sorry. It is
manga. Manga.
There is a manga based on the anime, but it's not printed in a weekly magazine. It's printed in tankobons.
Oh, okay.
Like,
so this is Shonen Jump.
Here's volume. Yeah, Shonen Jump. Last guess from each of you.
I'm trying to think. It's going to be really obvious.
It won't be, because you probably won't have heard of it.
Maybe not then.
Well, no, like, I mean, it's obvious, but I don't think you, Robert, will have heard of it.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know then. Can't guess something I haven't heard of.
Until I say it and you have.
It. Yeah.
Bleach.
Oh, I have heard of Bleach.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed it.
Although Bleach, halfway through Naruto's run in the top three, kind of fucking just like crashed and burned and did like a nosedive into the low sixes and then got cancelled.
Huh.
But that's a different story for a different time. Naruto, was really, really popular for about 12 years, I think. A little bit longer, maybe even 15 years. Just, that's the kind of legacy that it has. To be consistently in the top three is no easy feat. And One Piece is like the outlier where it just never dies and is consistently popular and good every single week. The
only thing I knew about it going into it was that it's famous for making the running, the weird style of running where you sort of leant over with your arms stretched out behind you. And,
aerodynamic.
And I've watched 2 episodes and nobody's run like that yet.
You just wait, they'll go
so
nuts.
I'm like, hope that I'm thinking of the right one. That's all I intend to do this week with the uni and Utena. So maybe
is your university experience anything like Revolutionary Girl Utena?
Sure.
There's about 40% fewer sword fights, I'd say.
But you found the magical arena?
Yeah. I can't get in because Prince didn't give me a ring, so I've tried opening the door and nothing.
Robert's like, got a foot against the wall trying to pry open a broom closet. There's a magical arena in here, I swear. My high school, my university experience was a lot more akin to Death Note. And I'll just let you try and figure out who I was. Because you go to university in that for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think so, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
What about you? You did a little bit of a stint at university?
Semester?
Tertiary.
Is what they call it?
Yeah.
Season?
Yeah, there's one season. 12 episodes.
Of university.
Yeah. No anime.
No anime comes to mind.
Yeah.
Very good. This week, I watched Your Name, Kimi no Wa, which was a very, very popular movie which came out 2 years ago in 2016. So Your Name came out and it was the bee's knees. They did screenings of it in New Zealand even, in the movie theatre. It was so popular. It's really highly rated on Mal. I just kind of missed it. And then I was like, oh, I've got to get back on that awareness hype train. So I watched it with my girlfriend and it's really hard to talk about without spoilers, but the gist of the plot, what do you call that? The synopsis? The premise.
Summary? Yeah.
The premise. The premise of the show is that there is a girl living in the countryside Japan, and she's like, geez, I hate this country town. If I could be born again, I wish I would be a boy in Tokyo. And there's a boy in Tokyo who's just like minding his own business, and then one day she wakes up in his body and he wakes up in her body, and like 3 times a week they just swap bodies for a day, and it takes them a while to figure out that it's actually happening and that they're not dreaming. And then they like start like communicating to each other through diary entries like on their phones, and just
does he have no say in it?
He has no say in it. But also she's not doing it on purpose.
No, but it's not like he was simultaneously wishing that, I wish I was a girl in the country.
No, didn't quite happen like that. That's the basic premise, and they learn a little bit about each other and themselves at the same time. I like and don't like this movie. I can't talk about why I don't like this movie because it's a spoiler.
Yeah.
But I really liked the way that they kind of... it's directed by the same guy who did 5 centimeters per second, which I've talked about on the podcast previously. Yeah. So it's got a similar kind of focus on human life. So the girl in the town has this... Her family is like in charge of looking after this Shinto shrine, so she's got a lot of pressure on her to be, a religious shrine maiden, but she doesn't have a good relationship with her dad, and so that's all complicated, and everybody hates living in this small town where they don't even have a cafe. And the guy has complex relationship with his workmates, and it's just an interesting look into like teenage mindsets, because the first thing that the dude does when he wakes up in a girl's body is touch her boobs, because that's exactly what you would do. If you're 15 and you wake up in a girl's body, he's like, boobs.
No, I'm going to be 15. If I woke up tomorrow in a woman's body, I would just diddle myself all day, because I'd be like, what does it feel like from this side?
Yeah, fair enough.
Most people would. I think I've seen enough Reddit threads where that gets asked, where people from both genders would say, yeah, I definitely would spend most day checking myself out and checking off and...
just
check out
just shoving yourself in your room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's the animation quality of the really subtle kind of... not... The animation quality is really high, but not in a sense of massive action sequences. It's just they really capture little things like people brushing their hair past their ear, and it looks really natural, and the way that they interact with each other in their clothes. It's a really nice, high budget movie, and I wish I could talk about it more, but there's like a twist in the second half that is most of the movie that I want to talk about, but I can't.
When I have more time, I will watch it. It sounds like something I would watch.
It's good. It's really good. Your girlfriend would probably like it, and there's not like your girlfriend would like it. It's like it's accessible.
Your girlfriend would like it.
Yeah, mate. It's got something for you girls. No, it's like it's an accessible movie. Do you know what I mean? It's not like Utena, which I think would be hard for somebody who doesn't like anime.
What would you say it is? Is it like a feel-good sort of film? Or...
Yeah, it has a feel-good ending. It's a slice of life with a little bit of supernatural element, which is the twist. Yeah. I'm like saying supernatural could he's a werewolf. They swap bodies on the full moon.
He's
That's
a
not
werewolf.
No, so it's a slice of life drama, and it's got a feel good kind of vibe to it.
Nice.
I gave it a 7 out of 10, but numbers don't mean anything, so...
I beg to differ. I'm doing a degree in numbers. It reminded me, though, of that something I thought about a lot through high school, because going through most of my high school classes, I was taking the class alongside a woman who was... girl, high school chick, whatever. She was like my polar opposite in a lot of ways. She had my exact initials, but she was a very confident, very popular, very sexually active black woman. and it made me wonder, like, all the way through high school, I was like, man, what would it be like to be her? Because it's so different to me. And because she had my initials, I was like, what if I just like woke up as her one day, she woke up as me? How would our lives be different?
Because opposites attract, you know, 2 steps forward.
Yeah. So
you know the person who sang that song was Scat Cat? This little animated cat? Sang it with Paula Abdul. I don't know what else Paula Abdul does except for American Idol, but she does Opposites Attract with Scat Cat.
Okay. They're pretty opposite, I guess.
Because he's a cat and he's animated.
Yeah.
It's a classic story of 2D, 3D and how they just want to be together, and obviously Scat Cat is her husband, and so she's like trying to court him. Yeah.
Body swap is a weird thing. It'd be interesting to know when that came from, or where that came from.
Freaky Friday with
that was the very first instance ever.
It never happened before. Which is why Lindsay Lohan is in so many Hollywood movies now.
Based on a true story.
In Westerns, you call it body swap. I can't remember. I think we watched an anime and they do a body swap. Is it Revolutionary?
Yeah.
Utena,
that's right.
Episode. Yeah.
In the subtitles, they said mind swap.
That's probably a better one because it is the mind that swaps, not the bodies. Because his body doesn't go to countryside, and her body doesn't go to Tokyo. Just their minds do.
Swapping bodies,
swapping minds.
Like if you have a head transplant, would it be a body transplant or a head transplant? Ooh, who knows?
Well,
right.
I was going to say, is your brain in your body or in your head? Where is the consciousness sit? I don't know. But yeah, so I've only just watched a movie this week. I'm working on some stuff on the back burner, but like it's just not quite cooked yet. They just got a little bit of nice slow roast
down the line.
Yeah. So with that, let's move into fake views. Fake Views is a short little segment where I talk about some anime that is real and some anime that is fake. I stole this from Anime YouTube because fucking why not? Curtis and Robert don't know as much about anime as I do, so I get to tease them when they get it wrong, and it's just a bit of fun.
Yeah.
This is a little bit of fun. First anime. One day, the main character, his childhood friend, and 4 other teenagers are abducted and forced into the Kizuna system. As official members of the system, those taking part are connected through pain. If one member is injured, the others all feel the equal amount of agony. These individuals must become lab rats and scapegoats in an incomplete system designed with world peace in mind. With their fates literally intertwined, they must learn to expose their true selves to each other.
Real. I'm going with real straight off the bat. Feels like it would be real, and it's a really cool story if it's not.
Feels like a combination of things. I'll say fake.
What does it feel like a combination of?
The feeling they feel each other's pain.
Yeah.
I can't say exactly, but I've just seen that. Yeah.
Okay. It's real.
Yeah, boy.
Nice.
It's Kisniver. It's got a 7.58 rating on my anime list. I've seen this. It's pretty good. It's pretty damn good.
Is it long?
12 episodes, literally 12. And it's
supposed to figuratively 12.
Well, I've said 12 before and then it's been 13, right. So I'm saying this time it's literally 12.
12 for sure.
Metaphorically 12 episodes.
It's 12 if you just don't think about the 13th one. Yeah, this is another one by Trigger, so same guys, or same kind of team that did Kill la Kill, Space Patrol Lilico, and some of the people who worked on Gurren Lagann. Yeah, I'd recommend it. Okay, next one. Against his father's wishes, a young psychic prodigy named main character leaves his life in the circus and sneaks into Whispering Rock Summer Camp, where young psychics like him can learn to use their powers and maybe someday become psychonauts. Psychic secret agents who must battle the forces of evil. Real or fake?
Curtis, you have to go first this time.
That's a fake anime, for sure.
You don't... Why is it fake? Don't say why it's fake. You guys work together and it really annoys me if you work together.
No,
I know that it's something else.
Why did you tell Robert that? No, if this was a game show, you don't go, hey, whoa, buddy. He's setting you up.
Sorry.
I was desperately trying to think of what it was because it does sound vaguely familiar. The hint of circus, I was like, oh, so Robin from Batman Robin, and then I'm like, no, that doesn't sound like the rest of it. So I couldn't put my finger on what it is, but I was leaning towards fake.
There's a video game called Psychonauts that came out in 2005, and it's very good.
Oh,
and I've also played it.
I apologize.
I forgot that. Yeah, you did ruin it. I forgot that you were a fan of Double Fine.
Yeah. Yeah,
Robert's saying he's posturing. He's like, I would have gotten it. It's fine. I would have got it.
I was leaning towards fake.
All right. Last one. At first glance, the main character and her two friends are three high school girls who don't seem like they have anything to do with each other. The first is a social butterfly with a reputation for being a party animal, even though she's actually an innocent and good-hearted girl despite her appearance. The second is plain-looking, with a sarcastic personality, and a rabid love for manga. And the third is a wealthy lady with an excellent social grace. Despite their differences, they are three best friends, and together they love to talk about various myths and ask candid questions about the female body.
Wow.
This is fake.
Curtis?
Real.
This is real.
Damn it.
You guys always consistently tie. This is Oshite Galko-chan, or Please Tell Me Galko-chan. And another one that I've seen is pretty good. I've seen this one, it's pretty good. It's got a 7.19 rating on Mal, which, if anything above a 7 is like kind of worth your time if it sounds interesting to you. It's a pretty good indicator that it's probably going to be okay. Unless it's not. Unless it's Dragon Ball Z and we hate it.
What is that on Mal?
Like an 8?
Yeah.
It's pretty... That's high. That's a high rating. Nothing has a 10. Like 9.15 is like a top 50. Yeah. So yeah, it's about a girl who... for a little bit more context, so like a gyaru, which is like a girl who wears like a lot of fake tan and dyes her hair blonde and wears like skimpy outfits. It's like a subculture in Japan, and they have a reputation for being slutty, and they call gyaru, which is the Japanese name, gal for short.
Right.
So she's got the name Galko, which is like just gal.
Yeah.
And then all the characters in the school have, again, puns on the thing that they are, and it's just, they're different to what you would think by looking at them. Like, the really fat girl can fucking run forever, and they call her, like, meat thighs or something. I can't remember. It's pretty good, though, and it's, like, short 8-minute episodes, and they talk about things like pubic hair and diddling yourself and bra sizes. It's funny. It's good.
Sure. Yeah. It's a comedy.
Yeah, it's a comedy, short little comedy series.
Cool.
So that's done. But with that, I think I'm just going to move into recommendation. And this week, I want to recommend One Punch Man. That's right. I'm running out of... I've already flexed my muscles. I flexed at the beginning, and I'm, like, straining to keep flexing. We're just going with popular stuff that I feel like a lot of people have already seen. But maybe you haven't seen One Punch Man. Maybe you're new to anime, like how Robert kind of still is. And, look, One Punch Man is the story about a guy who can kill anything with one punch. He lives in a superhero society with superheroes who get paid to be superheroes. And he can kill anything with one punch, but nobody knows who he is because nobody like there's not a big fight. It's just one punch and done. And so nobody sees like a big dramatic thing and he doesn't make a thing of it. So it's the story of him trying to gain some notoriety or infamy. No, notoriety. Notoriety is the right word. But the story isn't actually about Saitama. He's the main character, but the story actually ends up revolving around all the secondary characters who do get the shit just kicked the fuck out of them by evil monsters and supervillains, and how they have to live in a world where they live in a world where there's a god who can kill anything with one punch, and they have to kind of live with the consequences of that, and how that makes them feel about their own powers and their own sense of self-worth. And that's really interesting. Also, second season's coming out next year in April, so that's really fucking exciting. Really high animation quality for the fights, which is super fun. So it's an action comedy series, and the action is just top-notch. It's also got, like, if you want to go a little bit deeper, it's got, like, a bit of existential dread for Saitama, because it's the whole question of, like, once you achieve your dream, well, it's like, then what? Yeah. What's the next step? I've done it. I did the thing that I wanted to do, so now what do I do? And so...
midlife crisis.
Yeah, he's having a midlife... Well, even... I feel like a lot of time midlife crisis is people being like, what have I achieved? Like, I'm nothing. But he's like, I'm
everything.
I'm everything. I've done
now
it.
What?
Yeah, it's...
right.
What comes after you... It's also... You can extrapolate it to that, though. Like, I know that coming out of uni, I was like, okay, so now what?
Yeah.
You did it. You can scale it down.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a god to be able to relate to Saitama. Again, another short one. It's really good. It's just a fun time. People get, like... He slaps a lady and she explodes.
I remember that. This is one I have seen, and it's really good. I also recommend it.
There we go.
When
Tooth
he slap a lady and she explodes.
She's a mosquito?
Oh, yeah.
He just...
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. They live in a world where there's different classes of superheroes as well, like the A-class and stuff. And although he can defeat any bad guy, he's really shit at all the other, like, regular superhero stuff.
That's right. No, it's because he does a test to get classified, and then he destroys the records for all the physical stuff and then completely fails the mental stuff because he's an idiot.
Yeah.
It's a good series.
Yeah, very good.
You seen it, Curtis?
No, I have not.
Check it out. Let's move into the wrap-up. We don't have any mail this week, which is fine. But if you do want to mail us, do want to get in touch, do want to hear us talk about the thing that you said to us on the podcast, you can do so on social media. We have every single kind of social media that you can think of, including Bebo, which we don't have. But we're at... Huh? Tinder? Yeah, we're on Tinder. Just got to try really expand the radius and keep swiping. I swear to God, we're there. But we're active on Reddit and YouTube. If you wanted to, you could email us directly at KYFCaYAC at gmail.com. That's KYFCaYAC at gmail.com. We'd love to hear from a friend or a foe, whether you love it or you hate it. Just let us hear some feedback. Next week on the podcast, we'll be watching episodes 19, 20, and 21 of Revolutionary Girl Utena. But until next week, I have been your anime big brother Joel.
I've been your anime adopted little brother Robert.
I've been your anime little sister Curtis. Until next week, missing truth and forever, kissing love and true your heart.